What's up, everybody? Got a special guest today. We're going to talk about the breaking news, I guess. We're going to talk about, we were going to talk about Garrett, and now this breaking news just kind of came out that he's done. He's done in Dallas. What's up, man? First of all, Happy New Year, bro. How is everything with you? We haven't done this in a while. How's everything going, man?
Man, Joe, so a recap of the season in so many words is like me and you have, no matter what, remained cool, have been in contact throughout the season as far as like just talking about draft stuff and what we think is wrong with the team. And I'll give you credit early on. You saw this mediocrity. And that's, for everybody who's on your channel looking for updates and this, that, and the third, if you think that Joe's being negative or whatever, it's actually like being a realist. I was like being optimistic, but Joe brought me over to that side, and it was true. Like, this team was an average team, whether we wanted to know it or not. But honestly, Joe, I've been good. This season has been like one of the more headache-filled seasons.
Yeah.
Because you just like, there's nothing worse than underachieving or playing down to BS or not reaching your full potential, or there's so many excuses being made. And then obviously now we're here. And I'll be honest with you. I'll save my thoughts until we really jump into it, Joe. But honestly, it's good to be back talking ball with you. Gives me a little life. Hopefully these fans, jump on and give us their thoughts. Because honestly, this is big. This is big. This is like really big news in the Cowboys community. It's huge.
Absolutely, man. So, we were talking about this offline. Like, what is the deal? What's the delay? Is he gonna come back? That was my biggest worry. Was like, okay, day one, okay, day two, I don't know about this. And then, I talk about this third meeting that was supposed to happen, which apparently didn't happen. So now, I guess Ed Werder's reporting that they won't move forward with Jason Garrett. So, he's out. It's done. The Jason Garrett era is finally over.
So, I think we all knew, but towards the end, Joe, things started to get kind of scary.
Yeah.
At least for me, they did.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, a couple things, Joe, and I want to get your opinion on some of this. So ESPN got it. It's obviously over. I dropped a video 4 days ago that was like, the report said the whole staff is going to be fired. Now, I don't know. It's been a little later, and I want the whole staff fired. Yeah. Like, yeah. I don't want nobody remaining on this team. I don't.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I've been saying the same thing. You can't have any of that culture, because that's what the problem is right now. That Jason Garrett culture. And hopefully this next whoever's going to coach this team can change it up.
Yeah. So I want the whole staff fired, Joe, and I want, like you said, a culture change, but. You get the news, okay. What was the delay, Joe? Is there, we don't have anybody in place? Is it, we're really tied to Jason Garrett? I'm sure in the coming weeks, we'll find out. I think, and this is just me, I think that Jerry Jones is very scared that Jason Garrett will go somewhere and be successful. That's a Foot's thought. I think that Jerry Jones was very scared that Jason Garrett will go somewhere else and be successful. Ultimately, he was hard. He had to do it, but that's what I think. What held this up, Joe? What held this up?
Man, I just thought about all kinds of things. As far as supposedly they're saying that it's just a respect thing and this and that, but I don't know. I mean, how long do you really need? So it kind of got scary. I didn't want them to come back and say, we're gonna keep Garrett, or we're gonna give him, pseudo GM powers or something like that, and try to sell you on that, because the Cowboys, and we talked about this offline, these guys are really good media. They know how to manipulate the media and get their message out there and brainwash literally everybody, whether it's a draft pick, a free agent, cheap pickup, a coach, whatever. They're the masters of it, and they have a wide range of ways to get that message out. DallasCowboys.com. They have all the video podcasts now. They're all over the place. So that's what I was worried about.
Honestly, Joe, and I want to commend you for calling out them on their BS, because, again, you were one of the few people who saw the signs early that the team, it just had no life, no gel, no fight, and the voice got stale.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett's voice got stale. I don't think Jason Garrett's a bad coach. I think he's more of a coordinator than a head guy. But I don't think he's a bad coach. I'm going to be honest about that. I think there are a lot of bad coaches in the league. I don't think he's one of them. I don't think that everybody's cut out to be a head coach, especially not a head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. The problem is exactly that. The culture and the propaganda being sold to this team is utterly ridiculous. All right? You have talent. Yes, whatever talent means. But the problem is these guys have no discipline, no structure. They play unaccountable. They play like they're never held accountable for in meetings.
Yeah.
Like they're never held accountable in walkthroughs and practice. It's just a lot of encouragement, which is great. These guys need to be encouraged. You need to have their back. But at some point, damn it, you got to be able to catch an out route. At some point, you got to stop jumping off sides. At some point. And, I think in the last 20 years, Dallas will look back at this team and say, this was the team where we missed the mark. And I'll be honest, I think that they handled the whole situation with Jason Garrett even wrong, because not extending him and putting that much pressure on a guy to have to get to an NFC championship, but you took away his play calling abilities and this, that, and the third. It was a mess. It was a complete mess. And maybe that was some of the reason why the delay happened with them actually firing the coach. But nonetheless, I just hope that moving forward, Dallas has learned from this, Joe, because, this was awful.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? This was awful. Jason became a running joke. Okay. But more or less, how do we think that candidates coming in look at this job, Joe?
That's the $1 million question, and it still comes back to how much power does the coach have? Do the players believe the coach is your end all be all? Like, okay, I can fire this guy, I can cut this guy, I can bench this guy. You know what I mean? We've heard, that there's some politics, whether it's Beasley or Dez or whatever, saying that certain players got more, I don't know how you say it, favoritism as far as getting the ball or whatever. And when you hear it from more than one player, it kind of concerns you. And for me, that's the biggest concern for me is, you can bring in, the flashy Lincoln Riley or whatever, whoever the hell the hottest name is, which is probably him, right? But, or him or whoever, maybe, if they, Sean Payton, I know that's not going to happen, but, Sean Payton could be the best coach, but if you don't have the teeth, you're like the Bumble from Rudolph. You're not going to be able to do anything without your teeth,
Yeah, I think, and when you talk about teeth, Joe, you're talking about the culture. You're talking about, I think what has to happen is, and who knows if this is going to happen, Joe, but in order for this next team to work, it's the obvious, but it's true. Sometimes there's no other way to say it or this, that, and the third, because, there's no stat behind it or whatever. It's the obvious. Jerry Jones has to remove himself. And I'll even take it a step farther. I love Steven, but if you're going to make Will McClay the GM, and he's the guy behind, he's the brains, him and his team scouts are really going out on the road and doing the work, and he's done a great job on the pro side and the whole nine. Make him the GM.
Yeah.
And just make Steven the VP and just move Jerry away. Jerry can't have the GM title anymore, Joe.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's become a running joke.
Yeah, it has. It's a 30-year-old joke. It's they haven't won anything. They haven't been to the NFC Championship since the '90s, and that was with Switzer, and that was with a Jimmy Johnson, put together, roster pretty much. So it's been way too long, man. It's just been way too long. And like you said, if he doesn't take a step back, and I'm hoping that this whole process, whatever the hell these guys were talking about, that maybe he is going to take some kind of step back. Let these guys coach, let them make their moves, and then here you go, Jerry. Here's your Lombardi. We got it for you. You got out of our way. Here you go. We got it for you. All right. That's what I want, man. I don't want Jerry Jones sticking his fingers and getting involved in all this other crap. Like, let these guys do their job,
Well, I think that the sad part is, Joe, is that Jerry's getting older.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest, the realization or the chances that a first-year coach comes in here and takes you to an NFC Championship just isn't high. All right. I mean, I think, did Dan Quinn do it? I don't know. But the chances that happens, Joe, is just not realistic. So there's going to be growing pains with this new guy.
Yeah.
All right. But you want to see an overall change in the team. So this can go a couple ways too. All right. Jason's out. His message is out. All his posters and, finish the fight and, everything that Jason has, we talk about brainwash, Joe. Everything that Jason has instilled in these guys, these athletes, these guys that he drafted, these are now Jason guys.
Yeah, that's right.
That's still going to be imprinted on his team. And I don't think people really talk about that. Now, some will be able to, it's almost like when you're hypnotized. Some will be able to snap out. Some won't. Some will just live average and vanilla and play that way until they aren't Cowboys anymore. And that's the part that scares you, because if this next guy, okay, Joe, what if his voice doesn't get through to some of these young players?
Yeah.
What if his message doesn't get through? What if these guys, what if he hasn't had enough time to build a true relationship to where he can get these guys to really love and care about him, and then ultimately play the game at a high level for him? That's what we got to think about. Not the X's and O's, not the scheme. It's that culture building stuff that we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the main thing, A lot of these coaches are really good at the X's and O's, but it's about leading these men and getting the best out of these guys, and just Garrett couldn't get it done, and I don't know if that's because Jerry was over his shoulder, but I think a lot of it was inexperience. It was all made up. He was a QB coach in Miami. They brought him in here, said that they sold us, right? He's an offensive-minded guy. He's a genius and this and that. Put him with Wade Phillips. We're going to do some things. And the offense was pretty good, but, you had T.O. They were stacked,
Yeah, that's a good point,
but they still couldn't get it done, so.
I think
we'll see.
Wow, you on fire tonight, bro. I ain't going to lie to you, because you just got my mind thinking. What did Kellen Moore do to deserve offensive coordinator position for the Dallas Cowboys?
Exactly. And the stats did go up. Yeah, they did go up, but still, it's like you're manufacturing, and that's what the Cowboys do, and that's what they're going to continue to do. We just have to take everything with a grain of salt. Like, we really do.
Like 2 to 3 grains of salt, Joe.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to do that, but, we do need to do that. We do need to do that as fans,
So you get to the off season and you get hungry for football, and you're looking for any excuse to be excited. Any excuse, Joe.
Yeah.
Anything reported. Oh yeah. But you know, we watched a franchise sell us Tristan Hill. Tristan Hill had a chance to draft Taylor Rapp, had the chance to draft, we watched this franchise sell us this. All right. So I totally get in, and that's not a knock on the player. I think that, he has a bright future. But we just haven't, as an org, we just haven't done, the logic. We haven't made logical decisions lately. Joe.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. And for me, it's not really a knock on Will McClay. I think Will McClay has made a difference, but there's still something that is not quite there. Like, I don't know if it's the coaches come in the draft room and they try to sell why they want a guy, and I almost feel like that's how we got Tristan Hill. I don't know if Marinelli, pounded the table, on this guy more than the other coaches or what, but that's what we ended up with. He kind of, the name kind of came out of nowhere. If you remember when we were doing the draft coverage, you and I were hot on the safeties. Tristan Hill's name just kind of came out, okay, and then you start seeing his name in the mock drafts, like, okay, well, who's this Tristan Hill guy? Didn't play his senior year, barely anything. Didn't get along with the staff, supposedly. And, some other things that you hear about.
Undersized, or, Yeah, totally. So I just feel like, in the kind of dive into him a little bit, I just feel like Dallas didn't evaluate the player correctly. Because the strength was lacking so bad.
Yeah.
He's literally getting blown off the football. And I just, you want instant production. You're not looking for a Pro Bowler.
Right.
You're just looking for production out of your first pick.
Yeah. Second round pick.
Second round pick, you're looking for production. Cheeto produced his first year. Wasn't a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
He produced. All right. So the fact that didn't happen, like you said, did the coaches overtake Will Clay?
Yeah.
Did Jerry Jones step in and see something? Was he persuaded by the coaches? Was Jason Garrett and Rod like, if this is my last hurrah, let me draft this guy? All of this stuff, we literally have no idea what's going on.
That's right.
And I think that, Jerry owes it to the fan base. They owe it to the fan base. Me and you are now part of the media. All right. So we're going to tell you guys what we think that the Cowboys are doing, not doing. Like you said, we don't get paid by, you guys who listen pay our salaries. You know what I mean? And we're thankful for you guys.
Yeah.
DallasCowboys.com not telling me Foots what to say. I don't give a damn what they say. Or, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. And I don't care if they're in the building. It doesn't take a genius to see that the organization's not being run correctly. It's making a lot of money, but we're not winning games. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not winning games. To lose 8 games in the way that we lost, and it was
the way that we lost,
it was so predictable. They had a narrative that became true early on, and they couldn't shake it. They couldn't shake that narrative, and everybody was hoping, like, okay, it's still early. We still got time. And then we ran out of time.
Yeah. We're sitting on the couch again, watching the playoffs, watching high-level football, and we're not there because why? Team isn't tough. So Dallas has a toughness issue, Joe. That's something that I've been wanting to speak about for a long time.
Yes, sir. That's right.
This team has a heart issue. They have a toughness issue. Every football player is tough. What do you mean? No. We're not mentally sharp. That's toughness. That's mentally tough. We're not physical. We're not gritty. We don't get the dirty yards, the dirty plays. We don't make the play when it's a slant and we got to go take the ball from somebody. It's too many times we're getting the ball taken for us. We're having a fumble. We don't get the interception. We don't punch the ball out. We don't make the big hit, the bone crushing hit. Not tough.
Yeah.
And until we get somebody who can dig deep and get that out of our players, 7-8, 6-10. Excuse me, 7-9, 6-10, 9-7, 8-8.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Till we get a coach in here who will say, Jason Witten, I love you. You're not going to play on this football team because you don't help this football team.
That's
I know
huge.
you're Mr. Cowboy the whole nine.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. Like, you got to put, and if the player isn't working, get rid of them. If they're not a franchise or somebody that you're really committed to contractually, get rid of them. Chaz Green, Brett Maher, they became liabilities. They literally cost you games, and you keep them on the roster. That has to change. That has to change.
Dude, Chaz Green did cost us the game, Joe. And somebody's safety. He could have got somebody hurt.
Yeah. He could have got Prescott knocked out.
And he's hurt. And so I'm glad you brought him up, because now, Joe, all right, this is an uncomfortable situation, but in an uncomfortable conversation. But listen, the next person to go won't be the next coach. It's going to start being some of these players that we know and love. Think about that for a second, Joe.
That's true. And it needs to be. It needs to be that.
Some of these players that we know and love, Marcus Lawrence, Dak Prescott, I think Zeke got the contract, 3 more years. Start looking at that. Maybe 2 more years, 3. You start looking at that and seeing, is it worth it? I mean, you just got to be honest. The linemen, like, you look up and Tyron made it through the whole year for the most part. So I think Zach and Tyron are 15-year players. They're that good.
Yeah.
So you're safe there. They're all decade players. Totally. But the NFL is a blame game. Where can I shift the blame when things aren't going well? Okay. So now, coach out. Linehan, Joe, gone. Dez, gone. Tony Romo in the booth, injury prone, couldn't stay healthy, couldn't stay upright, gone.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett, gone. Now, this next guy, because if he's taking his job, I'm willing to bet he's saying, I'm taking this job under my terms. You're not gonna house me. Okay. So what are your thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I agree, man. They gotta look themselves in the mirror, man. They gotta take a deep look at themselves, because this is a good change, and it had to happen, but there's still more work to be done. You're gonna do your interviews. And hopefully this guy can pick his whole staff, because if I'm not mistaken, there are still some that are under contract. I think Kellen Moore, Colombo, was it Sanjay? I think you got a few of your offensive guys still under contract. For me, I want it all gone. Like we said earlier, this next coach has to have the power to bring his own people in here, his staff, people that he trusts, that he knows won't compromise what he wants to do. So that's a big thing.
Listen to me, Joe. Listen. If I'm telling you how this goes. You know it, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the blame is gonna be shifted. Now it was the coaching staff. You got 2 years of the coaching staff. You got Linehan out. You can't blame Linehan for crap this year. Can't. Jason, out. Just like when you play Grand Theft Auto Eliminated. Boom. They eliminated. They put the grade. Boom. Bye-bye. Now, okay, I'm about to pay Dak Prescott a bunch of money. I want to see a return.
That's the thing about the Cowboys, man. It seems like every offseason there's a storyline. There's something to keep the fans going through the offseason. We get through, Senior Bowl, and then you get through all the interviews, the combine, the draft, and then the mini camp. Then you hit that month of the dead season. With the Cowboys, it seems like there's always going to be some news comes up, and it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna stay busy as YouTubers. You and I, we stay on top of this thing, so it's gonna be what coach comes in, what philosophy, what kind of players does he like. Is he gonna want, if it's a college coach, is he gonna wanna? He's probably gonna want to bring in some people that he's familiar with.
Joe, do you want a college guy?
It depends who it is. I'm not hot on the Lincoln Riley. I know he's the hot name, but it's a recent hot name. I guarantee you, a lot of these fans didn't know anything about Lincoln Riley until he was here at Oklahoma, right? I didn't. I know a lot of fans don't. For me, I want somebody a little bit more established. If they're coming from college, Harbaugh, I think, is a good one, and Urban Meyer. I think those two would be the avenue that I would go.
And I'm gonna throw another name out there. Is Chris Peterson, and the only reason why, the way the teams play will tell you everything you need to know about the coach. So the reason why Chris Peterson is somebody for me is because his defense has always played really, really good. For the recruits that he gets, he's never gonna get the recruits of an Alabama, or I think he's maxed out as far as how good Washington can be. They'll just never compete with SEC talent.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That doesn't mean he's not a football guy. But I think he has tough teams.
He does.
I think that his players are good in the NFL. And I think that, with Lincoln Riley, I just see a stylistic issue that I don't want to bring in another flashy, gadget, goofy plays, and all this stupid spread stuff, hot dog stuff for Dallas. And I'll tell you what, I just don't want the Cowboys throwing the ball all around the yard. I don't want them playing that type of football because first of all, I don't think that caters to Dak Prescott's skill set. When you're playing spread football, you got to be sharp with the ball all the time. You're putting the ball in the air that much, that's a lot of chances for that thing to get picked off. Number two, and most importantly, I don't think that Oklahoma's a tough team. I watched them. Notre Dame is a tough team. Would they have probably lost to LSU? Probably, but they're tough. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wisconsin is a tough team. Would they probably have lost to LSU? Probably, but they're tough. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a good point. Very good point.
Oklahoma's not a tough team.
They got the. I mean, it was like you see LSU and they just slapped them in the face and it stole them. I just took their heart out. They weren't in it. They just continued to get whooped that whole game.
Yeah, totally. And so, why would I want that on Lincoln Riley? I love him, but he's not there. With Chris Peterson, I just see a guy when he speaks like this guy, and people gotta understand players can tell a phony. All right,
yeah.
And if I just look at Chris Peterson, I look at a guy who was good at Boise, and has Washington playing really good football. Now, how good was Washington this year? I can't even remember really. But I know historically, last couple of years they've been right in the hunt. They send good guys. They send really good players to the league.
Yeah.
Marcus Peters, I think Shaq Thompson went to Washington. So, I mean, this is me, Sidney Jones, and he obviously had the injury, so he hasn't been the same since that. But Dallas has to get a culture guy. If you want to grow with the culture guy, I'm good. If you want to grow with if you want to grow with Urban Meyer, if you can lock him into 7 years, 10 years, whatever, do that. But give him a chance to put his imprint on his team.
Yeah.
Give him a chance, Joe.
Yeah, those are facts, man. Those are straight facts. It's not like this shouldn't be news to people, but you'd be surprised. Matt Rule is another name that's kind of floating out there as a culture-changing type of coach. Former Giants guy, went to college, Baylor, kind of revamped them. You saw the progression each year. that's the kind of coach I want to see too. I want to see somebody that can turn around a program and see the progression each year, better and better. And if we get that guy, if we get that type of coach in here, I think we have the opportunity, to be better. You have to. The Cowboys had to tear the Band-Aid off. You can't go 10 years and another 5 years of this. I mean, they had to take it off. And if they don't do good with this next coach, at least you tried. At least you got another coach and said, okay, well this didn't work. But time is running out, like you said, for Jerry. Like they gotta make this might be, what is he, 77, right? So you get this coach on a 5-year deal. You're talking about, man, he'll be early 80s if this coach finishes out his 5-year deal. That's when, as a human being, just in general, when you get in the
Talk about it,
80s,
bro.
when you
I
get in
said
your
it in my
80s,
video.
yeah, when you get in your
Dude.
80s, you don't know what can take you out. You could get a pneumonia, whatever the hell. I mean, you're just not all physically there. You can't take certain things at that age. So,
Dude, rest in peace to my grandfather, who was a diehard Cowboys fan. He went to the ER with the flu and passed away. So it's just one of those things. It's like you said, Joe. As you get older, Jerry, listen. This isn't the best Jerry hour, so we're not.
Yeah.
I think Jerry has done a fine job making the Cowboys a global brand. Global, not U.S., but global brand.
Right.
That being said, he's done that with us not winning games. Yeah. Imagine when we start to win. So, and I mean, I say not winning because Jason he had more wins than he had losses, but not winning the game. I mean, not even playing in these games. Like, I would love to see my team playing the NFC Championship.
It's almost like, for me, just thinking about the age factor, it's almost like if I'm Steven, I would probably be more to try to get your dad a Super Bowl. If you're Steven Jones, you kind of, I don't know, maybe you have to look at it as, man, I want to get my dad this Super Bowl. I need an all-in move, So that's another thing that I think we need to take consideration. Is there an all-in move for the Cowboys? And, who would it be? I mean, Mike Zimmer's one that the name is floating around there. Does that move the needle for you, Foots?
No.
That's what I'm saying, too. I'm like, I like Mike Zimmer, but he seems too calm for me. And maybe behind the scenes, he's probably not like that. They said the same about Garrett, but who knows? But, yeah. Go ahead.
I think Zimmer's teams play good football, but I just don't know how much coaching life he has left. I know he has some health issues. They had to beg him to come out of retirement this year, or to come back this year. So
yeah,
I just don't know how much life, literal life, he can manufacture. All these guys aren't, Pete Carroll. So, I see, and that's why I like Urban Meyer. I think he's he has a lot of energy, and I think that'll rub off on the team. So,
yeah, the names that are going to start coming across will be interesting. And if the reports are accurate, they're going to start looking at these guys immediately. So maybe, by Friday, definitely, hopefully by Monday, maybe the weekend. Who knows? We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see.
Is our coach in the playoffs right now, Joe?
It's possible. I mean, it would be either like a head coach, that you would maybe have to trade draft picks for if he's still under contract, or one of these coordinators. Greg Roman is a name that's out there, Ravens offensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator from the 49ers, Robert Saleh, which is another name that you're kind of like just kind of hearing, last year and this year. But before then, I never heard of the guy. I
ever.
haven't. I mean, I'm being honest. I know a lot of people are out there. Oh, I knew about this guy. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You
Not
know?
only that, but like think about how many resources that San Fran has had on that defensive line and like drafting high because they've been so sorry.
Right, yeah. A lot of first round picks. It has to be dominating as they've been.
Solomon Thomas, Bosa, the whole nine got, you know,
Butner, yeah.
listen, so again, like, I like Salah. I don't know if he's ready for a whole team yet. It's just not, managing a team is just so much more than being a coordinator. And I think that's the mistake that Dallas made. They can't hire, how should I put this? You can't hire a head guy. A head guy has to have the pulse of a whole team. A coordinator, you can't just hire another coordinator that it's only a coordinator. Coordinators, they just let it be in their bubble and what they coaching. Nah, you need to have somebody who understands the team. You don't have that and how to move forward a team. None of this is gonna matter.
Yeah. That's true. That's absolutely true. Is there a name that scares you that you're like, I do not want this guy to be the head coach?
Lincoln Riley, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't want Lincoln Riley to be our coach. I can see the same. We will be soft. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I would not want Lincoln Riley to be our head coach. Not even close.
Yeah. That one, I'm with you on that. That one kind of concerns me. For me, it's Josh McDaniels. I just don't think that. I think a lot of people are trying to think that he'll be the next Belichick, but it's just these guys, they don't do well when they leave that Belichick bubble. None of them have. Bill O'Brien, somewhat. But the other guys, nothing. And even he himself, he didn't do good in Denver. And he had the keys to do whatever he wanted, and they didn't buy into it. They didn't buy into him. So
yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Okay. The guy who I'm a huge fan of, but I know it'll never happen, in the league right now, that's currently coaching a team. Now, I don't know if he'll be let go. I really like Anthony Lynn in San Diego. I mean, in LA. I think he was handicapped by a BS quarterback who has the pulse of his organization. Like Phillip Rivers will never get forced out. He'll just be able to just ride out in the sun. Even if they draft a quarterback, he'll always be like somewhat good enough to be in front of the guy. Yeah. But honestly, Phillip Rivers sucks. He sucks. But everything else on that LA team is like really good. Defense was, I don't know how good they were this year. I have to go do some research, but last year they were really good. They draft well. And I just think I like Anthony Lynn a lot. I like the way that he speaks. He was once on the Cowboys staff.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's a name in the dark. That's sneaky. I don't want to hear about like North Turner and all these guys. I don't want to hear about that. Yeah. So that's a name in the dark that I think that because I just think he's a man's man. And I saw a special on him where he went to Africa and helped some kids. I just think that he's a man's man. And that's what this team needs. That's what, I mean, to be honest, it was really refreshing watching Ron Rivera speak. Now, I don't know how good Ron Rivera is going to be as a coach, but I'll tell you what, he sold me. Yeah. I want to play football. And that's what, like, I don't want to just hear the same stuff at press conferences anymore. I want to know these guys are being disciplined. I want to know these guys are going to be where they're supposed to be. Ron Rivera says something that I love. If you play football the way that I'm going to teach you and you make a mistake, I'll take care of it. I'll take the blame. If you play football the way that I teach, if I teach you a way you don't do it and you try to do things your way, then I can't. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. We're going to teach these guys and coach these guys the correct way to play the game. I just want accountability.
That's the biggest thing, man. And I'm with you. That press conference sold me. I was like, can I sign up as a water boy at least or something, man? Like, I mean, But I think the other thing too, I think with a lot of these new programs, you have to win in that first contract. If you don't win within the 5 years, I think with any wherever you are in the league, that the message gets stale, like you said. You know, unless you're like one of these guys like a Peyton or a Belichick, where it works. But for the most part, if you don't get it within that first couple of seasons, it may not happen. So,
The message gets stale, John.
yeah, yeah,
So,
that's what it is. So, man, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here moving forward. And it's just typical Cowboys drama, baby. You know how we do it.
yeah.
It really
We
is.
can't. We definitely can't go an off season without BS. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
what it is, man.
That's
But
what it
hey
is.
Joe, this was great talks, man. Just like old times, really good.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, talking about, where the Cowboys are at, or kind of our thoughts on, who we like, who we kind of don't really like. But at the end of the day, it'll be up to Jerry and the front office to see who they want to come in here and hopefully deliver that Lombardi to Jerry, because the time is ticking. The time is definitely ticking.
That's it, man. That is it.
All right,
You're out of there.
You're out of there. Pull the plug. You're out of there.
You're out of there, man. Sweet.
You're out of there. Life support ran out on Garrett here today, finally. So that's it. We're finally able to turn the page and let's go. Whoever we get, let's go. Let's get this thing going.
Let's go with it, Joe, for sure.
Yeah. All right, Foots. Where can fans find you if they haven't already? I'm pretty sure they have, but if they haven't, where can they find Foots, the king? At?
I'm on Cowboys Nation TV, Joe. Thanks for all you do. Cowboys Nation TV. I may do a quick video actually promoting this video to get my thoughts. But I'll be honest, Joe, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because I'm just ready for it to be over.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get it right with the new hire. I'm just going to get straight into draft mode. Like I told you before we started recording, I just want to get into the mock draft. I don't want to spend a lot of time on BS and just a bunch of clickbait bull stuff, bull crap.
Right.
I'm not gonna do that. I want to get back to football. So that's me.
There it
is.
But
thank you, Joe, for having me on the channel, man, tonight for sure.
Absolutely. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Click a like on this video. Subscribe to Foots if you haven't already. Continue to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll Foots and I will catch up again here. We're definitely, you know how we do it. We like to cover the draft. We'll have that coverage for you here as well. So catch you for the next one, guys. Peace.